Hello there, my fellow miners and crafters. GoodTimesWithScar here, and welcome back to the building of Hermit Quest. And we're here at my building project, the Enchanter. And in the last episode in between, I just bumped into a tree. We've been working super hard on building trees and getting all sorts of beautiful texture and detail built up into the landscape. Look at this incredible detail down here. I've never made such kind of like a densely packed kind of landscape like this. Now there's a reason to this, is I'm trying to avoid players from walking in these areas. I'm thinking like if a player's down here and they're just seeing all this foliage and stuff they have to jump over, they're going to be discouraged. And that's the reason I want to move players onto the pathway. So if you see all that, you're like, I'm not going to go through that. I'm going to go up the beautiful pathway because that's the main purpose. And I want that to be the sight lines that you see when you go up, of course, this way. And of course, this is the only way into the castle, and I think that is looking pretty good. I'm very happy with the way the landscape's coming out. Now, before we go any further, I wanted to thank you guys so incredibly much for all the wonderful comments about how to use World Edit, and I want you guys to keep helping me with that because, you know, it's every week we do an episode and I sometimes forget in between. So you guys got to keep helping me with World Edit. I really do appreciate all of the help. And yeah, just a big thank you for all the support on this series. I'm so glad you guys are enjoying it and are excited about Hermit Quest. And if you are still enjoying this series, hit that like button and let's get started with this episode. So down here is another area that I've been working on. So this interior of this tower just felt bland. I was like, we got to spruce it up a little bit. We got to add an interior design. So in here, just a little storage room. So eventually we'll have, you know, the cases that you'll be able to open in the game and get loot, and we'll have a bunch of them in there. So that's kind of pre-planning for that. Now going up this spiral staircase gives me lots of inspiration on maybe how I could have done the other tower a little bit better, which we did in the last episode. But you know, we learn from our mistakes. So this is looking beautiful in here. As you can see, I've got some weapons up in the corners, just kind of adding color, really. That's like the main purpose, is kind of having these enchanted tools and armor around it. It gives the impression that you are in a magical area. You know, these tools are enchanted, and of course, lots of detail up in the ceiling. And in this chandelier is kind of sad. It's a little small. Do you think it's a little small? Let me know in the comments. Is that chandelier a decent proportion size for the room? Or is it a little on the dinky side? I'm not 100% sure, but I'm really pleased with the way the weapons look, just kind of glinting. Now, you do not have access to these. These are protected by barrier blocks. So let me jump into my inventory here and show you what that looks like. So people have no access to these, so they can't get to them. So that's cool. Now, in the last season of Hermit Quest, or Hermit Wars, it was actually called back then, there was some players who took the armor out of the appropriate armor stands in my build. Now, I'm not going to name any names, but you weren't supposed to. Now, I don't think that was ever put out, though you weren't supposed to. But anyway, this time I do have the barrier blocks in here, as you can see, so you can't get to them. But doesn't that look really cool? It just adds so much more to this room, having the kind of like mage suits, kind of like Skyrim, you know, up on the walls like that. You have the bookcases, you have the weapons up there. I think it looks really, really nice. Now, let's, of course, take the express route down. So let's jump over into our spectator mode. And I've been working on the walls. So why don't I show you what I mean by this? Look at this, very, you know, nice walls, you know, lots of detail in the walls. But watch this, we go down another level, things start to kind of wear down a little bit. You see that? We're getting a little farther underground into the older areas of the castle. So let's go down to another level here, and we have a small cave-in on this side, and then a big one right here, looking super awesome. So this might even be a place where you could even set up an ambush or something along those lines. Or maybe you hear some other players coming down the staircase and you could kind of hide back here and wait for them to pass. You know, just little ideas like that I've been trying to think of going through the build here. Just thinking like, how can I make this more interactable between players and the way they interact with the environments we're creating? And you can see lots of little details along there. And of course, this is the way down to the Crystal Grotto. Now, if you missed the episode, this is what we worked on in our prior episode. And the way this is going to work is players are going to work their way down this little tunnel here. And you can see these beautiful kind of support structures holding up this ancient tunnel. And you just go deeper and deeper underground. And now you start to see some crystals up in the ceiling, similar to our crystal, you know, biome design we've done elsewhere. And I think it's going to look so cool once we get down here. So this, of course, is the entrance to where the enchanters are going to be for players to come down and enchant their weapons or tools so their team can make their way down here. Now, I'm still thinking of ways, and I need you guys to help me with this. How can we make players more, I don't know, try to think of ways we can have players more interact within this space. You know, little secret passages like secrets. Remember when video games used to have secrets and shortcuts and stuff like that? Help me come up with some ideas. And, you know, as this episode goes along, put them in the comments. And I think this entrance going in looks so cool. It just reminds me. It doesn't like specifically look like it, but the kind of the essence of it reminds me of Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade. You know, at the end when they go into there where it's kind of cut in that mountain. That's just what that kind of reminds me of. And I think it looks real nice. And there's a little crystal kind of glowing at the top right there. Just letting you know you're about to head into magic. But yeah, that's what I want to work on a little bit more is like interactive areas. Is there maybe something we could do with command blocks or redstone that adds magical elements to the build? I think that's what I want to think about. And I want you guys to help me with this because I don't know much about, you know, command blocks, but is there things we could do with this that would add more elements of magic? So let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. But in today's episode, I can't build underground for 2+ episodes because I might get a little crazy. When I'm underground, I just get a little crazy in the head, a little more than usual. So we're going to be working outside today in the fresh air above our castle here. So we need to finish our walls, our towers, and things of that nature. So hopefully you guys are excited to see some of this. So we're going to do some more tower building. And what we need to start with is getting the walls built. So these walls need to be all assembled. The next phase is to come up with some ideas. How are we going to create these secondary little turrets along this section? So my thoughts was that we're going to do a smaller tower right here. So a smaller tower in this direction right here. It's going to be skinnier than those towers and a little bit taller. Now that's going to go right here. Now over in this little section, I'm considering doing maybe a big round tower, something similar to that one over there. And then this tower, this is the tricky one, is how do we do this in kind of a unique fashion that this is kind of like a, you know, this is at the end of the trail. So there's like a beautiful little like piece of the castle here. This is where the people live, things of that nature. Maybe we'll build like a really cool doorway. Will it have an interior? I don't know yet. We'll see if we get there. But I think that's what we're going to do over there. Now, I know you guys have mentioned, and I love this comment, was that maybe you could build a magical garden with a tree with magical properties around it. That sounds amazing. I'm going to save that for the next season because I want to do something all around that idea. So thank you very much for that idea for the magical garden. That was really cool, and I'm going to save that. But yeah, I think it is time to jump into super fast build mode and start working on these walls. So hit it. End of super fast build mode, and we've got a ton of progress done so far. So let's take a look at all of our beautiful walls. And you might be noticing the trees. That's right, we have a ton of new trees. I got my little tree farm up there. I've added about 2 or 3 different styles, and for every tree that I do paste down, I try to add a couple unique branches so it doesn't look super, you know, copied and pasted, but it sure does save a bit of time. But look at this incredible area. So much beautiful detail. And the design of this is always to make it look like it's been carved from the rock that it sits on. And I think we achieved that to a certain degree. Now, this is a little kind of boring in this section. This is where we need to start working and to add some extra, visual details. I've been thinking about maybe a secret entrance down here, maybe a little prison. I'm not exactly sure yet. But I think a tower definitely will go straight up here. Remember, that's the skinny tower. Now, the back section here is where I am still super confused at. It's like, do I want to build, some more of a structure versus, another tower? Maybe two towers with something kind of connecting them in the middle. I don't know. I don't know what to do. But this side is just looking absolutely fabulous. Look at that. That's amazing. So this little area right here didn't have really much to it, but what we've done is we added this whole overhang section, all of these beautiful trees and plants. So I think this side is looking really, really good. Now down here where the stone kind of went straight into the ground and there wasn't much in the way of a transition, I've added these little pockets of rocks. So these little pockets like here and there's another one right there. And let's just shoot over here real quick. And as you can see, there's some additional ones right here. Actually, that was one already there, but I've added this one and it just helps soften the blow. It's like there's a big chunk of stone and then it goes directly into dirt. And it's like kind of a weird transition. So this kind of helps kind of soften that out. So I think that looks really nice. And yeah, I think this came out pretty awesome. So like I said, gotta think about that extra little piece of a tower right here and how that's going to look. And the final thing before I jump back into super fast build mode to figure this out, this section right here. Now this of course is the way down to the enchanter. This is the reason people have come here, is to get into this tunnel down there into the enchanter. The rest of this stuff, this is all just like for fun, just extra designs, extra things to explore. But the real reason of course is through that doorway. And is it grand enough? Does it direct the player to that location well enough? It's a good question. I want you guys to help me with this. Should we redo this a little bit? Get rid of the tree, potentially take this walkway and actually bring it all the way around, giving us a slight little bit of extra room to make maybe a little bit more of a grander entrance? Yes or no on the tower? Yes, new tower, no, keep tower, something along those lines. Let me know what you think on that, as I'm not 100% sure about that. I think it's just some more time, but for now, let's work on this tower over here. So after quite a bit of trial and error adjusting the height of the new tower, I think this is a good height and thickness of it. Also, you might have noticed the compass at the top is now in daylight. I did not know how to change this. It got stuck into nighttime mode and I was too embarrassed to ask how to fix it. And eventually my finger just hit the key that fixed it. And now I'm not going to ask any more questions. So over here, we got the tower built, right? We got that. Now, what I'm thinking about is keeping the general path right here fairly clean. I might even do like a little overhang thing connecting to here. Might look kind of cool, just a little something to pass through. Maybe another tower right here, kind of connecting to that. I don't know. We can think about that later. But then the entrance to it will be kind of right here. So I think that's going to work out really nice. Now, are we going to make some more adjustments to this? I think it's actually a fairly good circle. Like I think it's like a fairly good one. I don't think I have to make too many more adjustments to it. It's the height that I'm still not 100% set with. I think it's good. It's a little higher than this tower. That's what our main goal was, to make sure it was higher than that tower. And then it was skinny. But my only question now, is it too thick? But I think it's going to be okay. I do think it's going to be okay. And I really think it kind of sets it off from the back. When you really look back here, you can really see that beautiful tower sticking up. Well, I mean, it's not beautiful yet, but we got to make it beautiful. And then over here's the last thing I've kind of come up with that I think we're going to do is this area might be a little bit more of a mine design. So this is kind of where they're mining out the crystals. I think this section is going to look really cool. And then we're going to have like an extra little entrance going in. Will it actually connect into the main castle? Probably not, but it's more of a themed element for the castle, which I think will look pretty cool. So yeah, let me kind of decorate this turret and see what we can make of it. This is looking good, my friends. Now, before it was this giant kind of cylinder sticking out of the ground, which looked a little bit awkward, but we're starting to kind of nestle it into the walls, bring the stone around the edges, make it feel a little bit more at home here. And I think it's looking quite a bit nicer. Now, for this upper level right here, I really want to make this castle feel bigger, more populated. So by doing this, I think we could really make that happen. So say we go up to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we cut into here like so. And then we start that once again. Let's see, that's 3, 4, 5. And we cut this open once again. It almost gives us a couple stories. Look at that. So we can add these little crystals up here, and this acts kind of as the windows. And we'll put those in the interior like that, and move this up just a little more. There we go. Awesome. All right, what does this look like? Should we, I've got a couple other ideas at this point. I think what we're gonna do is have the bottom window a little bit bigger and have that top window just a smidge bit smaller. So what if we go down just a little bit lower like that, and maybe even get a little crazy and add an extra one right there. And let's see, let's leave that one the size it is. Oh, there it is, guys. What if we did something like that? Really kind of use some forced perspective, but we can always kind of change it. Maybe even, I think it'll start coming together a little bit more once we add the lower section here. Once I start kind of stretching this piece of stone all the way around the lower section. And like I said before, I might add a little gate or a little door there. I think that might look super awesome. I think the tower is starting to come out, especially down at the lower section here. So remember how this whole theme is to try to build out of the rock below. So I'm trying to sculpt it out into a nice pattern down below. Now I'm still thinking about doing a little kind of fake entrance, maybe even if the door is just closed and it's more for decoration. Now going up a little higher, I add a little dirt, a little plant life. I might even add a little tree back in this corner. Now one thing I've noticed once I added the columns on either side, I got this kind of row of blocks. And I was kind of like, that doesn't look so round. So over here, I was kind of doing a quick test to see if I could kind of round out this thing a little bit more. And I think maybe I will do that. The only problem with doing that is that we start to kind of really thicken this thing up, and we're starting to get outside of that skinny tower design that we originally were intending. Now, let's fly up here real quick before we finish this tower. And I want to ask you guys, so say we finish up this tower about the way it is. So we have the general shape, okay? We got that established. Now we build something up at the end. Now remember, I'm still kind of not sure what to do back there. Let me know any particular shapes, or if you want to jump on and do a quick like mock-up on a test world and show it to me on Twitter. Definitely do that. I could use all the help I can get. But do we need any more towers? So that's my question to you. Are we good on towers? Do we need any more once this tower is complete and we build the design that's over in this little corner here? Do we need another one on this side or another one over here? I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not 100% sure. I've also suddenly considered doing some that aren't fully attached to the actual structure, like right there. So maybe I do one right here. I don't know. That's a good question. But yeah, let me know. Are we good on towers or do we need some more? Because I'm not 100% sure. But what I do know is I really want to get this tower done. So it's time to finish this thing up. End of super fast build mode, and we've got ourselves a brand new tower looking absolutely amazing on that little peninsula of a rock. Now look at the windows. I really think that's what distinguishes this particular tower, because each of the towers kind of have their own unique character to them. So the other one kind of has that extra little kind of base structure. Now this one got its windows, 2 additional windows, and I think that looks really nice, and it helps kind of expand out the castle, making it feel a little bit more bigger, a little more lived in. So I think that's working out really cool. Still haven't figured out exactly how I want to do the door right here, so I think we'll work on that off camera a bit. But like I said, I am super, super happy with the way that tower has come out. If you saw the time lapse, the top section doesn't match the other towers. I was trying to figure out how to do that in World Edit, and I don't know how to do it on a round structure. Like I could, you can do a square, you take out your little, your guy here and you just go a boom and a bam like that. But how would you do that on a round structure? Super confused, but that's okay. We'll figure that out eventually. But how are we doing so far? What, like I said earlier, what else could we do to this castle to make it feel, a little bit more lived in, a little bit more of a real place? Because that's what I've been thinking about. I think we have the good structural bones of a castle. Is it something that's lived in? That's my question to you. And that's what I've been thinking as building here. Do I have enough stuff here that really makes it feel like people are living and working within this environment, or is this just kind of a big old castle? That's kind of my question, and I'm not 100% sure how to answer that because I don't know yet, but I really hope you enjoyed today as we built these beautiful cliffs, additional walls and towers. And until next time, This has been Good Times with Scar, and I always really appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. And if you believe the videos are a rating, that would be much appreciated. And until next time, we'll see you later.